Hey, hello everyone, this is What If Issei Had the Anime System Part 2. This is a remake, let's go and get into it. Currently, Issei and Josuke are at Tony's restaurant, and Issei's saying, "Hey Josuke, didn't you say you would pay for this?" And Josuke says, "Yeah, I said so, but just noticed something. You ate like 7 bowls of spaghetti." And he just says, I was hungry. He's like, you know that Tony's food makes people healthier when they eat it, right? And do you know what the spaghetti does? And Issei just says, wait, what does it do? And Issei's stomach starts grumbling. He's like, Mamma mia. He starts running all the way to the restroom in the restaurant. And then he notices that this restaurant door has a quarter lock. You have to put a quarter in to open it. And he's digging in his pockets like, I don't have a quarter. And he starts screaming, Josuke, hand me a quarter. While Josuke says, no. And he just has like that sinister face. Like, you gotta do something for me for that quarter. And then Issei says, what do you want me to do? And he's like, oh, when you meet this guy who wears like a white coat, almost all white, sort of, and a kind of blue shirt with a hat, could you go ahead and say that you'll never, ever be a marine biologist? Actually, no. Could you just slap his hat off of his head? And he just says, fine, fine, I'll do it. Only if you hand me a quarter. So Josuke throws him a quarter. He picks it up, and the system literally pops up and says, this might be a bad time, but when you do a promise, it counts as a quest. And do you know who he was referring to, right? And Issa says, wait, who is he referring to? While trying to fidget the quarter into the lock so it can open. Immediately, the system says it was Josuke, referring to Jotaro. And immediately, Issei, instead of like, he opens the door, but out of fear, he literally just craps himself. And everyone literally just hears that, and they all look at him, and he's like, I fucked up. He just looks back and says, you saw nothing. He waves his hand in front of his face and says, you saw nothing. And they immediately said, we saw everything. And he's like, damn it, Jedi tricks don't work. And immediately the system says, it's an anime system. You didn't get a Jedi skill. And he says, wait, isn't there like an animated show of Star Wars? And immediately the system says, that's not an anime though. While Issei says, damn, I kind of wanted to force push people. That'd be awesome. Like, imagine that one really, really, really annoying teacher, and he's giving you more homework, and you just are like, I had enough of this shit, and you just force push him directly out of the classroom. That'd be amazing, is what Issei says. Or, even better yet, you could literally just pull him towards you and just sucker punch the absolute shit out of him. Or you could end up just like taking people's phones and stuff and just looking through it without them really noticing, because you just like force push it there, like back. While the system says, wouldn't you just force push it into a wall and it would just break? And everyone else is just staring at him while he's talking to himself. And then Issei says, why are they all staring at me even more than before? While the system says, well, you just shit yourself and you're talking to no one. And Issei says, but I'm talking to you. While the system says, you forgot no one can see you see the system except for certain people, right? While Issei says, oh, I look crazy as fuck, don't I? While the system says, no shit, Sherlock. While Issei says, you don't have to be a smartass. While the system says, no, I'm programmed to be a smartass. You're just a jackass. Immediately, the system starts playing like a soundboard that says, oh. While Issei says, I swear I know where that came from, but I'm not going to speak in this. He walks towards Josuke and he says, do you have an extra pair of pants? While Josuke says, no, I do not. Issei immediately says, well, that sucks. Immediately the system says, how about this? I give you a quest for a pair of clothes. He says, alright, so what's the quest? And the system starts laughing sinisterly. And like the system screen just has like a sinister aura around it. And it's like, creeping, creepily laughing, while Issei's like, I'm gonna suffer a lot from this, aren't I? And Josuke is staring at the system like, damn, I feel bad for you. He just gets up and walks out and says, bye though. And immediately when he walks out, he notices something. Josuke, you didn't pay. While Josuke says, yeah, I forgot. I forgot my wallet. So I'll just go home and you pay for it. Or if you can't pay for it, uh, have fun. And he starts running and he says like, oh, hell no. I ain't deal with Tony. He starts trying to run also. But Tony pops out of the back of the kitchen. And he's like right behind him. He like instant transmissions behind him and says, where you going, motherfucker? You didn't pay for your food. Just grabs him by the back of the collar and starts dragging him into the kitchen. Immediately, the system says, quest, insult Tony's cooking. And Issei says, well, it's not going to be that bad, is it? Immediately, Issei says, your cooking tastes like shit. And immediately, before he could say that, Tony just looks at him and a sinister aura is coming up. And Issei says, oh no, this is gonna hurt a lot, isn't it? 5 hours later, and a lot of screams, and a lot of dishwashing. He finally gets out of the restaurant. He has a new pair of clothes he's currently having to wear. The thing is, they didn't specify what type of clothes. So he's now wearing Jolene's clothes, which he didn't have a choice because as soon as the quest finished and he's out of Tony's restaurant, the quest screen popped up and said new clothing unlocked, and his old clothes just appeared and he wore Jolene's clothes. And he just looks down and says, these are female clothes, while the system's like, yeah, they are. You didn't specify which type of clothes. While Issei says, obviously I meant male clothes. Why did you do this? While the system says, I did it for the lols. And Issei said, damn it, oh. I just gotta get out of here before someone starts noticing. So he starts going to the house he was at previously, which the system dubs it as the spawn house. And he's already told him that every time that he goes into an anime world, he has a spawn house. A house that spawns somewhere in the neighborhood or that certain anime area that he has to go to. He can go to that to sleep or do anything he wants. He'll be perfectly safe for a little bit as long as he's inside the house and no one else is in. Basically, don't invite someone in, is what the system told him. So he walked into his house. He was about to go to sleep. He goes all the way into the house, goes all the way up the stairs, goes to his room, and just lays in the bed and says, I'm just going to go ahead and go to sleep. Goes to sleep, gets up the next morning. After getting up, he looks around and says, wait, are there any clothes in this house? Well, the system says, of course there's clothes. And Issei says, I could have just walked here and probably have gotten the clothes. While the system says, yeah, you could have, but it wouldn't have been as funny though. While Issei says, wow, you're a dick. And the system says, well, at least I used my dick. While Issei says, wow, that's a low blow, bro. Well, the system says, yeah, your existence is a low blow. Immediately, Issei's like, you're gonna do this all day, aren't you? While the system's like, yeah, you caught me. And Issei says, oh no. While the system says, oh yeah. And all of a sudden, the TV in Issei's room turns on and the Kool-Aid Man just says, oh yeah. While Issei just looks at the TV screen really quickly, but it immediately flashes off. And he's like, I swear I heard the Kool-Aid Man. You know what? It's probably nothing. So he goes into the drawers in his room and he puts on a certain outfit. Right when he puts it on, he realizes it's Koichi's outfit, but it actually fits him. So he immediately decides to go out and look around the town. He walks all the way outside of his house after walking down the stairs and making some breakfast. Eggs, bacon, pancakes, waffles, and an apple fritters is what he ate. Immediately when he got outside, he's literally hearing something from the neighbor's room, and hearing what sounds like a little bit of screaming, but is kind of muffled. So Issei, being the pervert he is like, "Calm, knock it off," and he just starts to literally say, "Knock it off," and starts walking to the house right next to him. He just knocks on the door and says, "Could you guys start? Could you guys stop? Doing the studying while I'm next door trying to get some sleep and just waking up to go investigate this new place." And immediately the female says, It's exploding. I'm exploding." And immediately, right when she said that, Issei said, "What the fuck? Okay, I'm done being nice about this." And he starts knocking on the door very, very hard. And immediately on the inside, just hears a man saying, "1 minute, I'm almost done here." And he just he hears footsteps walking towards the door, and he opens it slightly open and says, "What do you need?" While Issei said, "Well, I need you guys to stop fucking." And immediately this man who has coffee in his left hand and something behind the door in his right hand, he literally took a little sip of his coffee before hearing Issei said, "I need you guys to stop fucking," and immediately spits the coffee in Issei's face, and it's very hot coffee, and he's like, "This is unacceptable," is what Issei says. While Yoshikage Kira says, we weren't actually, you know what, yeah, we were, we'll keep it down." Immediately he says, "I've got to go anyway, so, bye, I guess. Have a good day, and don't worry, there'll be no noise complaints." And he notices something. He's like, "Wait, why do you seem so familiar?" While this man says, "I'm not very, very sure what you're saying or implying. I'm not really familiar, and I've never really seen you around." While Issei thinks in his head, "Wait, this is JoJo's Diamond Unbreakable. There was a murderer." Oh. He looks at him and just says, "Wait, no. It couldn't be." So he just says, "I'm probably just mixing it up or being paranoid." He just walks away and says, "Never mind. You look perfectly fine." Right when he walks away, the man closes the door, and in his right hand, just is still holding the hand of the corpse that he exploded. Immediately, he starts thinking that was close. Who is he? Is he a stand user? After all, he said that I looked familiar. He might be related to Josuke in some way. I should maybe start following him. Or keep some tabs on him since he lives next door. Maybe I should go investigate. As this man, known as Yoshikage Kira, goes into the house and grabs a bag and places the hand in, and immediately walks out of the house and goes directly towards Issei's and starts breaking in and investigating the place. Meanwhile, while Yoshikage Kira is doing that, Issei is investigating the area around. He's walking all around Morio, and it's honestly quite a colorful place. Isn't that bad, actually? But while he's walking around, he sees a familiar person. He sees a guy in a white coat with a white hat with gold, a little bit of gold, kind of mixed in with his hair. He's still kind of freaked out by this. Even in the anime, he was kind of freaked out how his hair and his hat was like fusion. Surprise! But yeah, he's still looking at him, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and go up to Jotaro and ask what's got him so much on edge." Because Jotaro is currently walking around, and he's looking very intently everywhere, like he's searching for something. And then Issei puts it together. He's probably searching for Yoshikage Kira. He walks up towards him and says, "Hey, you're Jotaro, right?" while Jotaro looks at him and says, "Yes, I am. Who are you?" While Issei says, "Well, my name is Issei Hyodo," and before he could say anything else, the screen pops up and says, "Quest active. Slap Josuke's hat off of his head. Or tell him he'll never be a marine biologist. Or if you're feeling lucky, do both at the same time, and you'll get one lucky roulette. Gotcha, spin." Immediately, Issei just says, "Well, Jotaro, could you do me a favor? I know we just met and everything, but could you do me a favor?" While Jotaro looks at him and says, "You're not going to ask me for crack money or something, right?" While Issei says, "No, no, 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 I wasn't going to ask you for that." "Damn it," he says in his mind. And he says, "Well, just kidding. I don't do that." He looks at him and just says, "Okay, so, there's this system I have. You see this blue thing right here?" He points towards the blue thing beside him, which is the system. And Jotaro looks at it and says, "Yeah, is that your stand, or you're a stand user? Interesting. What does it do?" And he tells him, "Well, it gives me quests and stuff. I get stronger the more I do it, and it's giving me a quest with you. And could you please not beat the absolute shit out of me for doing this? Because the disadvantage is quite high." He looks over at the disadvantage again that it shows on screen, and it immediately says spending. Immediately it says death by Big Bobby. And he says, like, "I don't know who Big Bobby is, but yeah." He says that in his mind, and it also says, "Don't tell Jotaro about what the quest is," explicitly. So he just says, "Yeah, just don't beat my ass for this, please." Immediately he says, "You'll never be a marine biologist," and he slaps Jotaro's hat off his head very quickly. Right when he does that, Jotaro looks at him and says, "Oi, you fucked up." He says, "Star Platinum, no," while Issei is just trying to run the fuck away. Like, you see him, like, turn around, blinking, like, "Oh, fuck," when he sees Star Platinum pop out. And right when Jotaro says, "Star Platinum, the world," Issei looks behind him while running and has the most horrified expression, saying, at that moment, he knew he had just fucked up. Jotaro just walks towards him and says, "Good grief," while he starts absolutely destroying him. He starts auraing him like 15 pages of aura, and then just insult to injury, he just starts kicking Issei in the nuts. Immediately, Jotaro says, "It looks like time's about to resume." But before it does, he walks behind Issei and gives him the ultimate wedgie. Just an insult to injury. And right when time unstops, all of a sudden, Issei screaming at the top of his lungs, "Fuck!" Before he could finish what he was saying and fall to the ground, a title screen appears saying, "To be continued." And that's how we stop. That's how we end What If Issei Had the Anime System Part 2. I hope you all enjoyed. Tell me if you like this better than the first part. Well, the second part. Tell me if you like it better. Alright, goodbye everyone, and I made a Discord if you didn't know.